Hey, I hope everybody's having a great day today. I am. Boom, got me some sweet tea. It is sweet. I haven't had like really sweet tea, which I had some from McAllister's, like when I lived in Indiana, but nobody touches like my grandma's sweet tea. I'm just saying, I'm not just saying that because it's my grandma, but anyways. Anyways. So, the purpose of this video today is just something like I stumbled on. Don't know what, but it's just interesting and it's fun to me just learning and just exploring what I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm looking for, I don't know what I'm learning, but it's so fun not knowing and just the pursuit of just not knowing, right? So, boom. So yesterday I kind of touched base. Let me see if I can flip this camera around. So yesterday I kind of touched base with this keyboard, and then I showed like all the shaded letters is which of the 13 letters I have in my name out of the 26 for my first, middle, and last name. Then down here I'm just messing around with Braille just to see what Braille or if any other mysteries may lie within my name, right? So doing that, which I explained to you yesterday in the post, that it led me to like the Anunnaki and then the Bronze War, the Bronze Age War, and that conflict, which, in the story of the Anunnaki, Marduk pretty much took over Babylon. Marduk pretty much took over Babylon. He raised his little super armies. He was like, boom, I don't gotta listen to y'all, like, just pretty much trying to, like, so to speak, like, defile the gods, because according to the stories, like, he didn't believe like the Anunnaki should have been helping the humans. They should have just been slaves, la 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 la. So boom, so like in the parts that I've got to, like, within my research and stuff with that storyline, is that he pretty much set up his brother that was finna take the throne. Boom, got him unalived, and just some more stuff, but it goes all over the place. But my thing is this: I know that these same stories keep repeating itself, and that's why I just keep pointing out the stories of, like, Inanna and Jesus, and then going back to like Horus and Osiris, Zeus and Odin, or Athena, like Persephone. Like, that's why I just keep going back and just keep talking about these same things, because from a young age I picked up on pattern, like the same stories being told. I picked up on all the contradictions in the Bible, yet I was forced to read this thing. They had this little pamphlet, read the Bible in 365 days. So, like, for every day, like morning and night, they got like scriptures for you to read. And my family was devout Christians, and I mean, every Sunday I want to go. I used to get put out of Sunday church and like Sunday school, like for like the adolescents anyways, because I asked too many questions that made too much sense. So they sent me out with the adults, like, go out there. So couldn't really ask questions out there because the pastor's up there on the pulpit, la la la, but whatever. So I just been doing me, like, even if I don't agree with something, or if it's not at my level of understanding, I still take it at face value. Now, that face can just sit anywhere, that value, but it's just going to be locked in a vault for if I approach it again or see like a similarity, I'll just be like, I remember that one time, or I remember this one story, or I remember this movie I watched, or I remember this person I talked to. Like, I don't forget nothing. I be trying to. Well, my brain does, but I ain't gonna say it. But anyways, back to this thing. So just looking like through the story of the Anunnaki, boom, led me to just keys, the word, just based off of these letters, and then based off of these, the calculator, the phone keypad, and then the computer keypad, number pad. So I'm just like, keys is significant in this. And then, like, if you don't know, like, recently I've been trying to, like, just been having fun on guitar pretty much, and this is where a lot of my downloads or intuitions came from, or is coming from. Because, like, when I'm up, like, playing the guitar, like, even though if I'm like being silly or whatever, I have like little visions, I see stuff, or just whatever. Something happens. So anyway, so that's what led me to keys right here. So boom. So these is just like the, what is this? Okay, piano. Excuse me, because it starts with C, ends with C. So the repeatingness, the repetitiveness is what got my attention, because just like the what's that, Sound of Music, the do re mi fa sol la ti, and then it repeats again at do. Boom, the same thing happens with the music notes. So they always repeat, going through like a, what was it, a 12 note or 12 key, you know, with the sharps and the flats. Boom, 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 boom. So that's why I have like, okay, repeats back to the letter A. And then just explaining to myself, even if I know, I don't want to just come in like, oh, I know everything. When I go learn something, I go in as if I know nothing, like a blank page, teach me everything. So I write down like all my definitions, because I don't want to just assume anything. Oh, yeah. So then just playing around, because it says like on the guitar, if you tune your guitar to a A4, that's a 444 hertz frequency. Then after you tune that, like every one after that just pretty much like doubles. So once you tune A4, you can tune the rest of your strings from there. Like make sure your pitch and stuff is on point. Boom. So then la, 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 la. So okay, so this is going with the, what I got, the guitar. So, and I thought it was interesting because the piano uses a 3-2 ratio, and then the guitar uses, what I think, like a 4-3 ratio, like as far as the notes. Because I was curious, like how it starts with C, like C, E, and G for the piano. That's considered like the triad, the major triad. Like pretty much you can play any songs with like these notes and da 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 da. And then just like life and spirituality, just like with music, it has its lows and it has its highs. A low note and a high note. Boom. And then a middle point between, or whatever. But the middle point between. Then, okay, I just drew it like a clock because it repeats itself just like time. And just showing myself, yeah, this is the circle of fifths, which would be the notes, and you just play them. La 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 la. Then let me see where we're going with this. Okay, don't remember. Okay, I kind of do. Oh, okay. So I was just writing down the chakras associated with the numbers. I was like, wait, where we got going on down here? Because what I've noticed, like with the notes with the guitar and the piano, 5 is the harmony number. There's like the harmonic note. And then it made me think about the throat chakra, with the throat chakra being truth and, you know, la 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 la. So then I was like, okay, so that number 5 may be significant more than what I'm looking into it. And let's see. Okay, so I was just doing all the stuff related to the number 12. And then, of course, just messing around with this 369 business again. Because now that I'm looking into music, you can kind of start seeing the inner workings, like geometry. You could just start seeing like patterns in nature and things like this. So I feel like me picking up this guitar has helped me for my better good in a way. So then, okay, so I was just thinking of like, okay, back to the 3, 6, and 9. So I'm just saying like what each number like essentially represents. Then I'm always curious if the number like 3, if it would equal its value, if it'll like be the same 3 equaling 3. So it does not. So when you add up 3 with the letters, it equals 29. Then you add the 2 and a 9, 11. Then a 1 and a 1 and 2. When you reduce it, then when you multiply it, 3 equals 9, 3600. So I was always curious about that. I did the same thing for 6. Added up, it equals 7. Multiplied, it equals 9. Same with 9. Added up, it equals 6. Multiply it, it equals 9. But anyway, so this is my way of thinking. So, and I'm going to explain this too, because this was my way of thinking. So, boom. Here's the mother. Okay, so first, I'll just say this. So, if you don't know, like humans and animals, like most people say, like, oh, humans came from monkeys or gorillas and apes and like all of that other stuff. But there was already fusing, like fibers fused to the head or fibers fused to our DNA, so to speak, before like you want to go through different animals. And that first ancient ancestor would be a fish and a man, fish man or fisherman, however you want to look at it, and however you want to look at it. The research is free. It's out there. You can look at it, look it up. Our ancient ancestor is a fish. I don't remember the exact name of the fish. I did not write it down. I kind of want to say a koi, but it's somewhere like along those lines. But the fish. So boom. And then it got me back to thinking about the Anunnaki story once again, because and I'll tell you how I got this. I just drew a 1 like this in parentheses. So there's just a 1 in parentheses, and then I just crossed my lines until I made that. I don't know why I did this, and because I did it on this page too. Hang on, have me a little drawing session. Here we go. So come on, camera, fix up. Anyway, so I did it on, where is it? What was I what was I showing again? So I did it on this page. This is what started it, and then this is what like developed. Then I was like, this must mean something. I keep drawing it. Let me just write this down. So boom. So this is where this started at, me reading like the guitar notes, and I noticed like boom, because like even though the guitar, I ain't gonna pull it out, but anyway, so you read the notes, and the highest note, because even though the keys, like when you hold the guitar towards you, you're going to start with the low E, right? And then the one furthest from you is the high E. They're both E. One's a low, one's a high. Then you got your middle point, right? So boom. But when you read the music, your high is on the top line and then your low is on the bottom. So if I wanted like a low E. So this is just me showing myself how to read like notes, the guitar notes and whatever with the numbers and then blah, 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 like what that means, right? So then I was like, boom, this does look like a highway. These notes would be like the passengers or lights on a bridge. And then these would just represent like different states of frequency. And then kind of what I was getting into when I was explaining like the human body is like an audible, contractual time machine, pretty much. Like we can do what AI can't do. Like the only difference between us and AI is that we have feelings. Pretty much, we have a heart, which is linked with our soul. They do not. And boom. But anyways, so that's what made me start thinking about that. So then from this, I doodled this. And then to me, I was just like, wait a minute. So this is 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excuse me, don't know what the symbol means, but I drew it again over here alongside the 3 fishes. But this is what I was getting to. My bad. I know I be getting sidetracked and I be all over the place sometimes. Bear with me. Let me find the page I was with a stone. Alright. So boom. So back to this page. So this is what I was getting at, like boom. So just looking at the numbers 3, 6, 9. So I assigned the numbers to each person just to see which would fit the role the best, I guess. So first I got the father being a number 9. So the number 9, and I didn't draw the circles all the way around. So the number 9 will enclose the number 6, which also encloses the number 3. And then 6 and 3 is 9. So it says the father protects mother and child. And then within the outer circle, there's an inner circle where the mother protects the child. And then there's an inner circle where the child just is, with 2 layers of protection. But then I was just like, boom. But when you think about like birth and stuff, right? So I'm not going to go into parthenogenesis. We're going to leave that one out for a second, right? So, and if I don't really know how to explain this because I don't really have the science to back it up. I just be knowing. But women have the seed. They don't really need men. I know I said I wasn't going to get into part though. But if you want to believe like, man has a role in, da. So, but women have the seed. That's why we menstruate every month, just so you know. But the seed and the egg. But anyways, slow down. But anyways, so just say like, boom, we're going to stick to science. So say like if man had the seed, and the woman had the man had the fertilizer to fertilize the woman's seed. So the man puts the fertilizer inside the woman, so the two would then become like one, or would it become still two but one? But then, as we know, the mother and the child, they share everything. The mother is the source of life for the child and sustains the child. So I was thinking, like, would the mother be number 9 and then the father 6? But that's just me playing around, so don't mind this, because that's why I was even showing like the navel, the outer protection, the under protection, like high, low, middle, just like with the music notes, which I've come to find out, like a high pitch, low pitch, and then the middle. So, and then I was just like, okay, the father passes on traits, messages, light, however you want to look at it, but the mother carries it and then delivers it. She carries it for the 9 to 10 months and then delivers it through birth. So that's just me just playing around. I might come back to that. I just like to think. But anyway, so then we get over here. So this will represent the fish. So I showed you how I just drew this with just starting with the 1 in parentheses. So I was going to write something, but then I got sidetracked. So then boom, once I connected my lines, right, I noticed that these started looking like fish. And that's what got me to thinking like, humans and fish. Because I know there was like a TV show. I never saw it, but I just remember reading about it. I think his name was like Boy Wonder or Wonder Boy. He was supposed to have been like one of the superheroes' kids. And it was just like a short-lived show. I might have to go back to that and find it. But that was just like what made me start thinking about that, like man and fish mating, and then thinking of like the evolution where the possibilities, like when you use your imagination, starting with the fish and the man, like how would that look? And you start thinking about like mermaids and sirens and all these other aquatic things and things like that. So then boom, that's that. So this is just showing a high and a low, but they all share the same mind. So you can draw from here or here. The choice is yours. Then it kind of reminds me like a hamburger. So I'm like, is that why that's like America's symbol, like the burger? If there's like more to it, like a bun, meat, and then another bun, and then the toppings or whatever. But that's just me thinking. And then just over here thinking about like the highs and the low, water came to mind. So at first I just wrote down like H2O. Like, okay, why am I thinking about water? Okay, I know it's 2 parts hydrogen, 1 oxygen. But I'm like thinking like there's another particle, another element inside of water that gives it life. And it's more than just hydrogen and oxygen. I can't prove it yet, but I'm not letting it go just because it has not been proven yet. But I do believe it's more. So that's why you might see Ho right here, right? Because I'm thinking like energy, like a form of energy or like ether. Because if you think about like a clone, essentially a body, or the story of Adam and Eve, right? And it was just explaining like these beings, they just was. So it's like essentially like avatars waiting for a command. Kind of like a computer. Like it's there, but it doesn't like have a purpose or life essentially until you put into a command into it, tell it what to do. So you become the operator of that avatar or that vessel in a sense. So this is just my way of thinking. So then I was just like, okay, so if water got a missing element that's not been notated or just whatever, So again, I'm back to thinking about energy, and then thinking about light, and then thinking about mirrors and reflections. So this is just where I'm going to be caught up on. But this was very interesting to me. And then this right here, I don't know. This is like a musical instrument I saw like in a vision. So this is like wooden, like a wood base. And it's like a little thing right there you can blow. Then it's like a little insert where you put your hand in and you hold it like that. It's like a one-handed thing. And then these are like the three little, it only has 3 keys, but these are the 3 keys you press, and boom, boom, boom. So I don't know, don't judge me. But then this right here, it's just reminding me of like essentially this plane we're on, right? And I don't really know how to explain it. I do, but I don't. So it's kind of like a false reality in a sense. It's like it is, but it is not. It is not. But it's trying to convince you that is what is not is. So I always say, and I've just known this for a while, the way down is to go up, and the way up is down. So this, I keep seeing this in dreams and vision, like this black and white checkered floorboard, however, or sometimes rooms, and it's just all that there is. So then it got me to thinking about like Saturn, the planet. So I'm like, okay. So I did like a little research. So I know like we get our body, our vessel, from Saturn, right? But then thinking about Saturn, what if, and this is just a theory, what if the powers that were pulling from a low vibration of Saturn's energy instead of like the high, but been pulling from like a low to get stuck into this loop? Because what I'm getting at with this, because I know essentially that, you know, we're just recycled energy, that the energy cannot be created nor destroyed. You can only produce it and reproduce it, right? But you cannot just say, oh, I want to create energy, and then just create energy. You're already pulling from something that was, like even the words you speak, the movements that you make. And then it just makes me think like this glamour that comes along with this world and being here. Because a lot of stuff that we look at is not what we're really looking at. And it's like kind of a way like, because we've been programmed to really think a certain way. And I think that's why they start as early as like telling us like certain things, and then making sure our parents or guardians at that time pass on that same doctrine to us, put us in school as early, like when our minds are already spongy and we can absorb so much, but they give us BS instead of what we really need to, like, you know, sustain in this life. You know, a lot just goes through my mind. But with this music, I feel like it took me back to science. Me last night, I stayed up all night, you know, learning all the chords to my guitar. Because at first, like I said, I just played it. I never even knew a note. I went to YouTube like last week. I found the note G, and I've been messing around with that. But then I'm just like, you know, I don't know what any of these strings are. There's 6 strings. I don't know what is what. I know what they sound like. I know what they feel like. I can feel the vibrations when I hit them. Excuse me, or pull the string. But I'm like, I don't know their name. So I found something that helped me like remember it. So it's how was it? Eddie ate dynamite. Goodbye, Eddie. So it's EADGBE. Yep. So those are the things. So help me remember that. But I'm like, I can start just seeing like the science behind music. And then like I'm starting to think of like older movies. Like I used to watch with my grandma, Dirty Dancing, and like how it showed like in the movie, like where dancing, it was dancing, singing and stuff was prohibited, it was banned and it wasn't allowed. And then learning this stuff, I can kind of understand that way of thinking. And then just understanding this too, it just really just sat with me. Like the powers that were somehow figured out a way to shut us off from ourselves. And that's what makes me think about the seventh rib in the body that's called the floating rib. It's still connected, but it's separated, right? It's still connected to our sternum, but it's broken and separated. So that makes me like think like, is that something like that may have happened to us? They break our spirit in a way or break our soul in a way to keep us trapped in this matrix. And then boom, you follow the chakras or follow your authenticity to get you back. But upon that break-in, they told us everything that was good was evil and gave us these false narratives, these false little creatures. Because if you've ever truly went to the spiritual realm, all these depicted like, oh, the devil got horns and he's red and he got a pitchfork. It's BS. Because when you get to the spiritual realm, you'll see like it ain't nothing like how they depicted things, right? And they tell you like, oh, the devil's this and the devil's that. Oh, the devil kills, steals, and destroys. But then you here on earth and who you see? People killing, people stealing, and people destroying. But still, religion gave people a scapegoat from accountability. Religion told you like, oh, come to church, you'll be forgiven. You can just come here every Sunday. We got you. Go back and finish doing what you was doing. And when you leave, like, it's currency, it's energy. And then when you get down to like, what is money? And that's why I say it is the mark of the beast. Because when we look at a coin, look at a paper dollar, who was on there? A face. Whose face? Why not put new faces on the dollars or on the coins? Why these same faces? Like, that has to mean something. And I don't really mean to ramble on, but it just be happening sometimes. It truly does. But it just really makes me wonder why. It couldn't have just been all for like power and control. There has to have been something more. And I probably would never find this answer, but I'm having fun learning other stuff in the meantime, in between time, finding out new stuff about me, new hobbies, new gifts unlocking. Like, who am I even? Like, who am I even? I always just have to like, wow, I'm changing like for the better. But I don't know. That's just me. But I'm probably gonna go ahead and just dive into like this mirror reflection of light and energy and stuff like that. So I've been like not really putting it off, but I feel like it's gonna lead me back to here. But it's gonna be okay. But I'm gonna go ahead and finish this. But I hope everybody's having a great day. I'm having a time of my life. And that's all. Ashe. Love you guys.